Hey everyone, my name is Annie. I am the Autoimmune Dietitian. Welcome to my YouTube channel where I cover all things related to nutrition and autoimmune disease. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm a registered dietitian nutritionist and I own my own private practice that I run out of my home in the Bay Area. And I mainly work with adults struggling with a host of symptoms from underlying inflammatory and autoimmune conditions. My clients, experiencing things like pain, digestive issues, fatigue, and just a reduced quality of life. So in my work with my clients, I help them implement a personalized nutrition roadmap designed to improve mobility, concentration, and energy levels to help them live the life that they should be living. So today I am talking about how diet could be a trigger for autoimmune diseases. So I think one of the most surprising things about autoimmune diseases is how much diet can play a role in either triggering or calming down disease symptoms. The food you eat may in fact be what caused your autoimmune disease. So now most of the time diet is not the only root cause, but food plays a role in managing a number of body systems. So if your diet is not serving your body well, it can cause a whole host of unwanted issues that can pave the way for developing an autoimmune disease. So today I'm taking a deep dive into how food affects the body and may trigger a body to attack itself. So before I jump in, I just need to attach a disclaimer to this video that the information in today's talk is not the substitute for the diagnosis, treatment, or care of disease by a medical provider. This is for informational purposes only, so please consult your qualified health professional for any changes to your medical care. Okay, so poor diet can affect the gut microbiome. So what you eat is actually reflected in the gut microbiome, which is that vast and complex bacterial world that lives in your gut. Keeping your gut bacteria balanced is key for maintaining good health. So issues start to creep up when the bacteria in the gut becomes unbalanced, or what is known as dysbiosis. What's really interesting about food is that it can shift your microbiome balance pretty substantially. In fact, one study that was published in the Gut Journal in 2021 found that specific nutrients had pro-inflammatory effects on the gut microbiome, while others had the opposite effect. And specifically, animal-derived foods and processed foods caused a higher growth of opportunistic bacteria that are linked to inflammation and intestinal inflammatory markers, while plant-based foods were linked to short-chain fatty acid producers, which have an anti-inflammatory effect on the body and can also help regulate the immune system. Food can also affect intestinal permeability, something that I've talked about a lot in the past. Intestinal permeability can trigger your body's immune system to attack when things kind of sneak into your body's circulation that shouldn't be there. Also, because of this, food sensitivities are much more prevalent in the autoimmune population than the healthy population because of leaky gut and because our immune system is just more activated. So that's something really to be aware of. The second thing I want to discuss is this theory of molecular mimicry. So molecular mimicry is another food-related concept that's been shown to affect autoimmunity. The theory of molecular mimicry is that certain food peptides, or what we know as proteins, are structurally similar to tissues in our body. So this can be a trigger when someone is exposed to these foods that have similar structure as their own tissues. And it can trigger a break in self-tolerance, which basically means when the body starts to see itself as an invader, or these molecular similar foods can activate an inactive immune cells. So two of the most studied foods that trigger this are dairy and gluten. So dairy has a similar structure to proteins in the pancreas, so loss of oral tolerance to dairy can also lead to an attack on the pancreatic cells. Gluten also has a very similar structure to thyroid tissues. So whenever I have a client with thyroid issues, the first thing I consider is removing gluten for that reason. And then lastly, foods can really just cause a lot of stress in the body and can trigger inflammation. So foods in and of themselves can be inflammatory and not only affect the gut, but can affect other systems in the body. So sugar is the most obvious one here. I've talked about how excessive sugar intake triggers elevated blood glucose, and the release of more insulin and high insulin production can be inflammatory. However, there's a really interesting study published in March of 2020 that showed that the helper T cells the ones that are responsible for inflammation and the development of autoimmune diseases, they're called Th17, actually have a number of glucose transporters on their cell surface, which are called GLUT3. And excessive sugar intake by someone can actually push these T cells into action, which can trigger a pro-inflammatory cascade in the body. Th17 has been linked to many autoimmune diseases, including rheumatoid arthritis, which I suffer from. So that was really interesting to kind of see that connection between glucose intake or sugar, glucose is sugar, and the kind of activation of your Th17 cells. Okay, so how do you change your diet to kind of either prevent or manage your autoimmune disease? Well, based on the research, eating a mostly plant-based diet with high-quality proteins will be your ticket to either preventing or managing your autoimmune disease. You really want to avoid things like processed foods, sugar, preservatives, alcohol, or anything that you may be sensitive to. If you have a thyroid issue, I would get tested for celiac disease and then remove gluten. Dairy might be something you want to avoid if you have type 1 diabetes or if you know it doesn't sit well with you. But you can do a lot with food to really change your gut microbiome, improve the intestinal integrity of your small and large intestine. And, just in general, food can really do wonders for your body. So just to recap, we focused on how food may have triggered your autoimmune disease. For those of you who would like more help managing your autoimmune diseases, I would love to chat with you. You can go to my website, annierubin.com, and schedule a free discovery call with me so we can learn about your goals and how I can hopefully help you. Also, something else that's available on my website, I have a free guide to uncovering your root causes of autoimmune diseases. So you can go to my website again, annierubin.com, and download that, and it will give you kind of a really nice overview of the different common underlying causes of autoimmune diseases, how to test for them, and then what you can do as your next steps to try and heal your body from your autoimmune disease. Lastly, the last thing you can do is sign up for my weekly newsletter. Again, you can do that on my website. I put out a lot of great information on managing inflammation with food and lifestyle, so you can try it. You can unsubscribe anytime. You definitely won't hurt my feelings. So thank you so much for joining me today. If you liked the video and you want to hear more, hit that subscribe button. These videos come out about every week, and I always kind of make some connection between autoimmune disease, inflammation, diet, and lifestyle. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next week.